So before I begin my speech, I would like to start by having you guys imagine a few different characters. So firstly, imagine that you're 10. I'm pretty sure we've all been 10 at some point. So imagine being 10. 10-year-olds have really, really big dreams. So imagine a 10-year-old with the dream of living, have a big house, having a big garden, and perhaps even getting to eat chocolate every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Now let's fast forward a few years to the age of 17. 17 is that time in the teenage age, and it's pretty much the most dynamic point of your life ever, where you experience the most changes, physically and mentally. And imagine that you wanted to go to this Christmas party, but your parents didn't let you because apparently you got a B+ on your grade. And imagine being so frustrated by all of the different expectations that they set on you, like how they expect you to clean your room, do your homework, practice the piano, and clean the dishes. And they expect you to master all of that in the same day. And finally, let's move a bit later to the age of 30. Imagine that you are scrolling on social media and you see your friends traveling to different places like Peru to Paris, or to Bali, whereas you're stuck at home with your 3-year-old. And imagine having to wake up at 5 a.m. just because your toddler was scared of ghosts. This doesn't make sense yet, but it will soon. And before I continue, let me ask, which one of you has experienced that feeling as a student of really wanting to become an adult and, having your independence? Raise your hands. Okay, so quite a lot of you. And for the adults or the teachers, raise your hands if you have ever been so overwhelmed by all your responsibilities and you wanted to maybe become a child again. Raise your hands. Okay, so some of you. So this kind of trend is what we call the coming of age dilemma. It's basically the paradox that when, as a child, we feel like we want to live our own lives and be independent, but then as grown-ups, we feel overwhelmed by all the things that comes with being adults, like taxes, like getting a job, and that kind of stuff, that we want to be young again. And so, since you all are high schoolers, some of you might have goals to go to top universities in the world, like, let's say, the Ivy Leagues or the Oxford schools, and so on. But before you do that, consider how much time will actually be spent on perfecting that resume. How much time will be spent revising for exams like the SATs or the ACTs, rather than focusing and discovering and exploring about who you really are. And by the end of college, let's say at the age of 25, do you really want to look back on your past life so far and realize that all you have about your sense of identity is just nothing, that you don't know who you are at all? So now, I'm going to show you two different lives. The first life, let's say, is a life where you completely immerse yourself in self-hatred, guilt, and fear. In class, you were the quiet kid who would not speak even when you're called on, and because you were so afraid that if you got the answer wrong, your friends would laugh at you. When it comes to going to work, you never took up any responsibilities because you didn't think you were good enough to be promoted. And when it comes to relationships, let's say someone asks you out, you come up with some lame excuse on the spot because you don't want to experience that heartbreaking feeling that was described way too often in romance novels. That may be a bit dramatic, but it is the harsh reality of what could happen to you if you followed this path, and if you didn't take any of the opportunities that were given to you. And now, I'm going to show you a different life. A life where you seize the moment, you let guilt fade away, and you are not held back by any standards that you compress yourself with. Instead, you will step outside of your comfort zone. You try new things, discover more things about yourself, and feel that refreshing sense of accomplishment whenever you try something new. And instead of hating yourself and feeling really tortured, you'd instead experience self-fulfillment. Obviously, we all want a second life. But I'm sure some of you are asking me, what if I'm busy with work? What if some of you guys have really ambitious dreams that you guys have to spend a lot of time on working and not a lot of time for leisure things? Well, you know what? I actually get it. Because, like maybe some of you are, I'm a perfectionist too. I would spend an entire hour looking at an essay that was already completed just to make sure that I could turn it in. And whenever I played a note wrong on the piano, I'd force myself to replay the entire piece 10 times. But success doesn't always equal happiness. There are so many stories of different successful billionaires but have zero happiness because they don't get to do what they want. Like skiing, like traveling, or just getting sleep in on a weekday. And so you ask, what is the solution? Well, it's pretty simple. Just one word, it's balance. Not too much success, and not too much happiness either. Because you don't want to be broke but happy, because then you wouldn't be happy for too long. But then you also don't want to be successful but lonely, because then there would be no one to share your happiness with. The importance of the solution is to find that middle spot between something that you are good at and also you like doing, because it brings both satisfaction and adequate income. And I know that some of you might say that there are better solutions for you guys to solve this problem. And that's completely okay, because we all should be the drivers of our own life. This is my own suggestion to you guys as a ninth grader of how you can break out of the coming of age role. And just to add on, you guys don't have to follow this. You can put whatever twist you guys want on the solution, because if you guys aren't living your own lives your unique way, it's obvious that you're going to be having many regrets. Now, coming back to our topic of balance, this balance is like an instinct. It's something that has always been within us. Since we were kids, it's something that helped us have these ambitious goals of, for example, becoming a professor at the age of 10, or exploring a new scientific discovery at the age of 15, for example. However, as we experience more failures and our mentalities become more pessimistic, we start to become more down. We're no longer the same kids who had these ambitious dreams. However, what this balance does is that it reminds us and it ignites that flame within us again. This sense of balance is what makes us like a child again. It motivates us to continue being the better version of ourselves. And this motivation is what has kept us driven and always focusing on our goal until now. This sense of balance is what keeps us grateful for everyone and everything, what's made us the person that we are today. And hence, in order to sustain that fire within you, what you guys need to do, and what we all need to do, is pretty simple. It's to never stop inquiring, never stop wondering about everything about the world, and also to never stop learning new things. Open-mindedness is the key and probably the best way to achieve this goal. So, to end my speech, I would like you guys to think back to the 3 personas / characters that you guys saw in the beginning. The 10-year-old that wanted to maybe eat chocolate all day. The angsty, frustrated teenager who couldn't go to a Christmas party. And finally, the adult who has given up on all of his ambitions. That is the coming of age dilemma right there. And if you don't break out of this cycle, the same cycle that millions of other people are also facing, you will live a life that is pretty miserable, and that is filled with regret and fear. And so, like the model of Nike, the goddess of victory, and the shoe brand, just do it. Move to the seaside just to experience what it feels like to live in the ocean. Study linguistics, even though you were always told to be a mathematician. Start a business just for no reason. take the risk and just do it. Thank you.